Am I the asshole for breaking a promise my parents made me do when I was 18? A bit of background information. My 25 female parents immigrated to France before I was born to be able to offer a better life for their children. I am the oldest of 5 and had a strict childhood growing up, looked after my siblings, always had good grades, behaved and listened mostly, etc. My main motivation was knowing that I can live my life how I wanted once I became an adult. Fast forward to me turning 18 and choosing which university I should go to. My parents told me that I should pick a town in France that was maximum a 3 hours drive away. I secretly applied to British universities, because I want to study English and got accepted. My parents said, "Fine, you can go since you got accepted, but you have to promise to come back home after your studies." Being 18 years old, I just did what they told me to so I could go without thinking too much about the consequences. Fast forward to now. After completing a degree in English and education which took 5 years, I found a job as a teacher in the UK and stayed. This is now my 2nd year of teaching. I have a boyfriend of 5 years, pay for my own apartment and have not relied on my parents, financially, for years now. My mum demands that I come back home, start living in their house and find a job in France. She wants me to throw my life in the UK away, because of a promise I made when I was 18. I just want to live my life how I want instead. They make me feel guilty for not keeping that promise and even set an ultimatum: it has to happen now or never. My mum thinks that I will never come back if I do not come back home this summer. This pressure, guilt I feel has strained our relationship. By the way, my parents are healthy and well and do not need me in France. Of course, I would be with them if they needed support. The way I see it, they are upset that their oldest child left the nest and has no intention of coming back anytime soon. Am I the asshole for not keeping the promise I made when I was 18? Edit. My parents immigrated from Bosnia, which has a Muslim, Eastern European culture with very patriarchal values. Family and having children is important, strict household, girls cannot go out as much as guys, girls do everything around the house, etc. There are no arranged marriages, but parents like to have a big say and often recommend a potential partner who has been well researched and approved of. He would have to be from the same religion, cultural background for my parents to accept him. They do not like me having a boyfriend from a different culture. My current boyfriend is British. I accepted all this while living with my parents out of respect to that culture, but I always knew that I would not like to live my life according to their rules. I want to travel and work in different countries, marry much later in life, and I do not want children. These are all things my parents disapprove of. During my first 2 years at university, my parents helped me out financially. They did not say that there were any strings attached. Helping your children go through uni if you can is another cultural thing. They are helping my other brothers right now who are also at uni. The rest of the siblings are in high school and can look after themselves, so they do not need me for childcare services. Think your parents need to let you live your life. You are clearly a responsible adult making good decisions in life. You'd only grow to hate them for making you give up the life you've got. Also not the asshole. Thanks everyone for pointing that I missed that out. Not the asshole. A promise that is made under coercion and pressure is not a promise. Your parents put an unreasonable condition in you when you wanted to go to university, and you didn't really have much of a choice other than to say yes. Sounds like your parents come from a culture where they expect to have a lot of SYA in their adult children's life, so I am sure it is hard for them to understand your decision making, but it's the hard truth that, while they may have been able to give you more stability and opportunities by coming to France, that also altered the social and economic terrain in which their children would structure their own lives. Edit. Thanks for the awards. Not the asshole. 5 years is a long time, and sometimes people change. Our desires, dreams, etc. all weigh in differently as our perspectives change. It sounds like you've grown up and aren't the same 18-year-old person who made that promise. You have forged a good life and you don't want to abandon it just to move back to France with no set plan. That makes you a responsible adult, not an asshole. Parents want their kids around. It's natural, and understandable. But they can't make decisions for you, and it's unfair for them to pressure you like that. Stick to your guns here. Do what's best for you and just tell your parents that things changed. You can move back anytime in the future, and it might be the best option at some point down the road. But right now, doesn't seem like that's the case. Not the asshole. I understand that it can be sad when the eldest child leaves the nest, but you are an adult and have the right to make a life for yourself, not just for them. Your parents need to realize that you're your own person, not just an extension of themselves. Not the asshole, you're an adult. Why would you quit your job to move back in with your parents? That makes no sense. You've been gone for 7 years, you have your own life now. I mean, sure, you probably shouldn't have promised to come back, but seems you didn't have much of a choice. Reassure your mom that this isn't a now or never situation, you aren't that far away. Not the asshole. I think you shouldn't have to throw away your job and relationship because your parents want you to go back to France. Not the asshole. Congratulations on all you have accomplished. Since you don't rely on your parents for money, put them on ignore regarding this issue. Try to stay connected and close, but anytime they bring it up, just move on to something else. Not the asshole. You are not obligated to honor promises made under duress. Not the asshole. They were assholes for extracting that promise and trying to guilt you into moving back. It is your life, live it how you want. Not the asshole, we all get one life. You have made progress to bring happy in the UK. Your career and romantic life are apparently in a good place. What other than the promise is the parents' reason for wanting you in France? Not the asshole, if you go back they will control your life like they have been since before you went to uni. You have a life. Don't leave it. Not the asshole, it wasn't fair of your parents to ask you to move back home to France once you finished university. Live your life your way and do what is best for you, you're only young once. Let them know that they can't hold you to the promise of moving back when you were 18, and it's unfair of them to set the ultimatum of moving back now or never. By issuing that ultimatum they are the ones who are damaging your relationship. Let them know you're happy to visit, however you've got responsibilities and a life in the UK, and a holiday in France is fine, but for you your life is in the UK. They don't have to like it, but they do need to accept that you're an adult who lives by her own rules. Good luck. Not the asshole, it is your life, not theirs. Do what is best for you, as you will have to live with it, they won't. NTA. I generally loathe lying, but this is the scenario it is needed for. You were to a degree being held emotionally hostage. To escape, you lied. Don't accept the guilt she is trying to get you to hold. This is a her problem, not a you problem. NTA. Do not look back. Info: where are your parents originally from? Not the asshole, your parents are being selfish. They clearly did a brilliant job raising you. You sound hard-working, accomplished, brilliant and independent. They raised you. You can't raise a child to be independent and hard-working, and then be surprised when they want to live their own independent life. They need to let you live your life. It's time that they let you go. NTA. Home is not where your parents are, but where your life is. Your home is in the UK and you are home. Are you from a culture where you're expected to stay at home until you're married? Whether yes or no, you don't have to live up to that. Your mom wants to rule your life, but that's your job now. Of course you promised to move back home, it was the only way you could go. At 18 your mom was wrong to force you into this promise. You're under no obligation to live up to it. Not the asshole. A promise made under pressure can be freely broken. IMHO. What you want at 25 is going to be different to what you may have wanted when you were 18. And your own parents left their country and left their family behind, so why can't you? Not the asshole. And actually the answer is never. You are an adult and have made your life. I don't understand your mother's thought process. You have a job, friends, a life. You are not going to be a child again. Of course your past promise, made under duress, is not valid. Explain you have made your choices. SND. They should be happy for you. Not the asshole. I was concerned there could be an element that they paid for your schooling. Your post just says you haven't relied on them for years. But even then I think any normal parent should be ecstatic that their child found a life, career, and partner, regardless of money or any strings tied to it. Does the place where your family is from have arranged marriages? Are they pressuring you to marry you off to someone of your culture back home? Not the asshole. You intend to come back after your studies. Maybe in 60 years. Not the asshole. They should have never made that stipulation in the first place. It was manipulative and they never had a say in where you went to college to begin with. Not the asshole. Take the option of never. Not the asshole. Making someone promise something is a bad idea and does not mean you have to keep that promise. Not the asshole. That wasn't a real promise, but one you made under duress. They forced you to do so. UK and France aren't even that far apart. Not the asshole. To be fair, if they keep acting like this you might never come home because of the way they treat you. What would be wrong with you having regular visits? Do they want to see you because they miss you, or do they want their dutiful house daughter back? Not the asshole. Something similar happened to me. I promised to return after university, but at that time I already had a life where I live. I did no return and never had regret my decision. It was difficult for them to understand at the beginning, but with time all was fine. Good luck. Not the asshole. Live your life the way you want to. My father died and my mum gave me some money from his death, split between my twin and I, on the condition I not move out for a year. However, our relationship had never been great and she was emotionally abusive. I moved out the same year and honestly it was the best decision I've ever made. I'm engaged and now have a baby on the way. Make your own decisions, you never know where they will lead you. Not the asshole. I also moved far away from home after college, not to another country, but since the US is so large it might as well be. I'm the oldest as well and my parents were sad about it just like yours are, but truthfully we've never been closer. If your mother feels like some sort of bond has been severed, she needs to put the work in to fix it. With all the technology and different ways we have to stay in touch with people, distance is no excuse. You're an adult now and you need to live your life for you. Not the asshole. 18 to 25 are formative years. So obviously you would change your mind. Plus this is something you always wanted. This is just another tactic to keep you under their thumb. Only go back on your terms and set boundaries. There's no reason to feel guilty about building your life. Not the asshole, but it sounds like they want you to come back partly so you can continue being an unpaid babysitter for your siblings. Also, it's easier for them to control you if you live there. Don't go back. Live your life. They don't actually have as much power as you think because you're not dependent on them. They might threaten to disown you, but that would be emotional blackmail to force you to do what they want. Don't give in. They don't want the best for you. They want the best for themselves. You're already doing what's best for you. Not the asshole. You were 18. Have a sit down with them and explain all this, and if they still are not okay with it, then I dunno. You sound like you love it there and have a good long-term relationship. You don't have to be beholden to family members solely because they are family. I found that out the hard way and wound up taking an overseas assignment just to get away from it all, and we don't plan on going back. If you do go back, even for a visit, hide your passport so they can't take it from you. I've read about parents doing this. Not the asshole about not wanting to leave the life you're created in England. But I will warn you, if you think that you want to eventually move back to France and have a family there, it's better to go and create your life there now. As my mum moved from Ireland to England and had a family there, her husband promised they would move back to Ireland and never did. They are divorced now, but she still can't just move back to Ireland due to the life she built in England. No. You're not the asshole for just living your own life. There's no reason you should feel guilty about not going back. Your parents will live. Félicitations pour ton diplôme, ton travail et ton copain. Tes parents ressemblent aux miens. Ils ont rigolé, quis déménageront près de moi, et commencé les préparations pour, beaucoup trop de fois, y comprise quand j'ai pris de la distance et changé de ville et plusieurs reprises. Cils continuant comme car ils vont just mettre en danger votre relation, et te faire chanter comme car est vraiment hors de propos. Not the asshole. A bonne chance pour les gérer. A promise made under duress, through pressure, blackmail, guilt tripping, or if you had to be worn down to make it, is one. Not a true promise because you were put in a situation where you felt like saying no was not an option because someone with a position of power over you, a parent, was demanding it, and two, is not a promise that needs to actually be kept because it was forced unwillingly, so you didn't truly agree to it. You said what you needed to say just so you could go live your life for you instead of staying under your parents' tight control. You were an adult, no longer a child, so your parents cannot control where you live. It's normal and appropriate for adults to move to a place that makes them happy and fulfilled. Not the asshole. What do you teach? The NQT year is the hardest, so it only gets better from now as a teacher, still hard, but more manageable. Not the asshole. Live your dreams. You are settled with a career. Not the asshole. If they are threatening to cut the relationship because you won't move back, that says a lot about how much they care about you. They don't care about your happiness, they only care about controlling you with abusive manipulation tactics. If you moved back, you'd be miserable and only grow to hate them. Cut your losses. Cut them off first and watch as they try to backtrack and say how sorry they are because you called them on their bullshit. Ex-Yugo, and especially Bosnian, Parents are the absolute worst for inflicting guilt, and for being manipulative and controlling. My mother was the same. Don't let them get away with it. They never stop. You are absolutely not the asshole. Not the asshole. You have the right to live your life the way you want it. Not the asshole. You don't have to keep promises you were forced to make. Not the asshole. Tell that you are keeping your word, because your new home is where you're at now and the life you built. Your parents are the assholes here. You should stay in the UK and enjoy your life. Maybe tell your parents to visit you in the summer, if COVID allows it, so that they can see how happy you are in your new home. Promises made under severe duress like this are under no obligation to be kept. IMO. NTA. Not the asshole. They shouldn't have made you promise that. It was basically emotional blackmail. Tell them you refuse to comply with a promise given under duress. Not the asshole. In my opinion, when parents need the care, then they come to where the children are. Unless there is an absolute need to stay by the doctors. Not the asshole. Your mother is way out of line. Loving parents welcome their children home anytime they want to come back. And they either create a warm, loving safe spot at home so that their kids want to come back, or they will always futilely try to drag the kids back against their will. For breaking the promise, not the asshole. For going to UK without thinking about the possible consequences, totally asshole.